And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, coming to you post-game. Boston loses again, 6th game in a row now. They lose this time to the Tampa Bay Lightning, 4-1 the final game at Amalie Arena. If you happen to be watching on YouTube and not just listening in audio pod, and you notice that Razor and I are in a different environment and sitting shoulder to shoulder, it's because we are. We're trying something, a little different technology. And I don't know if we're saying we're having fun with it. We're trying to figure it out.
Switching up the mojo.
We are. We're trying to switch it up, but we're going to make it work no matter what. We're getting the pod out. It's late at night, and the Bruins lost again. As always, Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. These people are the absolute best. I actually visited the guys yesterday at Fazenda. Pete and Phil there saw Pete and checked out some of the new stuff they got. They got some more Morning Brew blend with the new logo on the bag. If you want to get the Morning Brew blend, which is a dark roast but smooth, go check out fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. You can also buy hats there. You can check out the Clean Canteen Traveler. And you know what? If you don't want the dark roast, you want something else, they've got so many different things. If you like the smell of coffee, go to Fazenda Coffee. Go visit them if you want to. I don't know if they'll let you in, but go. I'll tell them that we sent you, okay? Hopefully Pete won't mind. FazendaCoffee.com, the place to go for phenomenal coffees and great people. Thank you to them. All right. 6 losses in a row. They've now been outscored 24-11 during this time. And I have absolutely nothing witty to say about this. So you tell me where you want to go with this one. Where do you start with this one, Razor, now?
That's the issue, right? That's what happens when you lose like this. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to go. Of course, it's very obvious the power play is the big one. That's the big monster. But even the appendix of that is, okay, where do you start on the power play? One day it's entries. Today was entries. Some days it's in zone forcing the bumper. Other days it's not having the right guys on the ice. Like that's a really, really long way of saying who knows. And that's what happens when you lose 6 games in a row in this league. It feels like you'll never win again. And it's really important to grind and process and just look yourself in the mirror and try and do more.
So, okay, this is a different trip maybe because the moms are on it, but let's pretend it's normal. It's post game. You shower after your treatment, whatever it is. You get onto the bus. You're going to the airport. It's 15 minutes away. I can tell you what I think it's like because I've been on these buses hundreds of times, but as a broadcaster, I've been on the buses in the college level, but not at the NHL level. So I'll let you explain what you're feeling there, what you're like when you get on the plane, when you're mired in. This is not it's going to be okay. I got to think that some guys are thinking, holy shit, like this is more than just a little bump right now. So you tell me what it's like. You tell us what you're thinking at that moment.
Well, you literally, everybody's very quiet. You put your headphones on, you get on the bus, you look at your phone, you send your wife a message. You're not talking to anybody. You're not getting on the phone with anybody. You're not dealing with outside life in any way whatsoever. You just want to sit on the bus. You want to get on the plane. You want to take off your suit. You want to sit on that plane, have a meal, and get to bed and fall asleep as fast as you can. You really, it's just a horrible feeling. It really is. And the idea that the guys or anyone in the league would just be happy and okay, we'll just go to the beach tomorrow and hang. Like it's the opposite of that. And again, you know that you don't have to be a player to know how miserable it is and what the feeling is and how miserable and how hard the league is when you're not winning. And I've said it a million times over the last few years when this team was winning every game, like how much fun this league is, how easy this league is when you're winning. It's 10x the opposite way when you're losing. It's awful. And so again, the guys this is different. And I lost once on a dad's trip. But it was the same trip. We went Tampa and then we went to Florida, and we lost the second one. We won in Tampa, and then we lost in Florida. So we didn't really have to like deal with it too much. And you'd already had a win, so everyone kind of felt good either way. This would be tough. Like, this isn't fun because you're in a horrible mood and you have to go and kind of hang with the moms and put a good smile on and not let them feel bad. And so now it gets awkward. It goes from having it being a great trip to having an awkward night with everyone tonight.
I'm guessing, could be totally wrong here. I'm guessing the moms are all on one bus.
Yeah.
And the players are all on another bus. Maybe that's different if the Bruins had won. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe they got the moms out quick. I don't know. But I'm guessing that because they lost, they're on separate transport to Tampa International, and everybody's real quiet. The moms are probably talking a lot more.
Yeah.
But nobody's jovial. Nobody's there. It is. And then you get on the plane. I guess the good news, I don't even know if it's good news. It's a 42-minute flight. You're up, you're down, but you spend more time probably preparing to land than it actually takes to fly as you're going to Florida. But yeah, it changes things. And by the way, coming into this game, the Bruins were 8-2-1 on family style trips, mom's trip, dad trip, siblings trip, etc. Now 8-3-1. They really needed this game. They did. They started pretty well. Both teams had some chances, but it wasn't anything like the game the other night against Edmonton, where the Bruins were anything but good early on, anything but confident, anything but responsible, disciplined against Edmonton. They were much more so against Tampa, a team that is very good. I don't know if they're great. They're very good. Better than I actually thought they might be this year, given what they had kind of, not just Stamkos losing, but just the change to their culture a little bit. But maybe there isn't that much change to their culture.
Yeah.
Victor Hedman, Nikita Kucherov, guys like Point is a fantastic quiet leader, Cirelli, you've got Hagel. You got all these guys. Chernak,
again, it was the big thing was the back end, right? We were like, okay, and you said it in the green room at one point. Okay, what are these guys other than Chernak and Hedman going to bring on the back end? Does McDonough have anything left? And they're proving everybody around the league that they do.
Yeah.
And Vasilevsky's better than he was last year now with the back surgery in his rearview mirror. So they are a good team, and that's also what makes tonight frustrating, because again, the Bruins had a great 36 minutes. It was an awesome 30. Like they hung on. Swayman had to make some saves, which is part of the goodness of getting on the road and making saves early, letting his team get into the game. The Bruins had chances. Second period was very quiet to start, and the Bruins had 5 unbelievable chances within 2.5 minutes in the middle of the game, and they weren't able to capitalize, but they get a power play opportunity, and from there that shorthanded goal just makes it all feel like it goes to shit after that. And
because it did for a while.
It kind of did. It wasn't, and they were good in the third again, but it's just so hard to come back from those 2 goals in the 6 minutes late in the second period on the road. It's a killer.
Well, let's just tell you about the first period then. Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning do not score in the first period. The Bruins ended up having 9 shots. Tampa had 11. We thought in the first period, well, we remember there was a few chances. Who was it? Was it Wahlstrom? It was the first period chance for Wahlstrom. I'm having that some-timers right now. There was Kastelic hit a post.
Yep.
I believe Wahlstrom had a chance.
The backhand.
The backhand.
Yeah. That was him. Yeah.
There were a couple of others, but nothing happened in the first as far as goals went. Again, 11-9 the shots in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. What the Bruins did have, though, they were two times shorthanded. Pavel Zacha and Nikita Zadorov were the players that took a penalty. And you're going against one of the top 5 power plays in the NHL. It's incredibly creative and confident power play led by Nikita Kucherov and Victor Hedman. And yet the Bruins did a really good job killing penalties. A really good job killing penalties, especially on the second one. Their sticks were excellent. They did not, they recovered with them. It wasn't like they were scrambly and lucky. They were really good at it. So you get out of the first having killed 2 penalties. And then there is a power play for the Bruins at the 13-16 mark. It's Victor Hedman takes an interference penalty. He didn't like the call. He's a monster of a man, but I mean, it was interference. He impeded the progress. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just the way it is. So, all right, the Bruins go on the power play, and the units are a little different for this game compared to what they've been. I mean, they're trying to tweak it here and there. They separate Marchand and Pastrnak and everything. And it ends up being a shorthanded goal by Anthony Cirelli. Hagel has the initial shot. McDonough has the second assist. This is what happens. I'll explain a little, then I'll let you take the second part of it. The Bruins break the puck out. Pastrnak gets it in the neutral zone with decent speed. He's coming middle right side. He's coming on the right side. You can tell that the Tampa Bay Lightning have pre-scouted this. They have a perfect threesome of Lightning, blue sweatered Lightning players set up. One being McDonough, who's closest to the wall. And I think, and I'm going to say it was Hedman deep. It might not have been. It might have been a righty shot. I don't think it was Chernak. Regardless, they are set up in a three, like in like a web of Tampa Bay Lightning players. Pastrnak tries to get by, I think it was Cirelli, and then he doesn't, because right after he gets by, kind of by Cirelli, it ends up being McDonough who stops the puck and then swats it right up the ice immediately to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, Hagel gets the initial opportunity. He misses the net on the blocker side, but yet Mason Lohrei can't get to the puck. Swayman can't get over. Nobody's back checking. The goal goes in. Cirelli roofs it. So that's how I saw it. I'll let you talk about there's a couple of the little details to it and the Swayman aspect of it.
Yeah, so all of that happens, and just again, just careless at the line, unfortunately, on the power
He forced
play.
it.
Yeah, it's it's just they're just trying so hard and too much, and again, simplify and all those cliches when it's not going well. And then they compound real quickly. Lohrei doesn't get back in time. He's a little bit behind. The puck goes down, and you could, if it was just Hagel, possibly Swayman goes out and challenges or tries to clear the puck on his own. But because Lohrei's with him, you wouldn't do that as a goaltender. You just let the deep play him up straight. But Hagel does beat him. Shot goes blocker side. He does get a piece of Swayman as well through the breakaway. After he shoots it, he gets a piece of Swayman and turns him to Swayman's left. The puck stays over on the right side of the net. Not sure why, but Jeremy still doesn't track with his head. His head goes to the left as well. So he loses track of the puck quickly, doesn't recognize the puck bounces off the backboards as quick as it does. Just hits the side of the apron, just barely hits the net. So it goes underneath Lohrei's stick as he tries to play it. And of course, Cirelli's there. We talked about the lack of back check after Lohrei. It was non-existent, and Cirelli's all alone. And because Swayman didn't find the puck, he just goes back to his post rather than going and getting over to his feet or taking a little bit of depth or tracking the puck or the shot. And it's behind him before he can really get eyes on it. And again, a great shot by Cirelli, but just a compounding of errors right from the far blue line for the Bruins that ended up making them down 1-0 in a situation where you just can't put yourself in any way whatsoever in this league.
The amount of turnovers the Bruins have upon entries on their power play, I don't know if there's any other choice except a regular soft chip or an extremely hard rim all the way around to change the point, the side of attack. Because the percentage, the success rate of entering the puck carrying it is minimal for this team. When it works, it looks beautiful, but it doesn't work enough compared to other teams. I don't have the analytics for that, so I can't tell you the exact percentage of time. But Razor, I'd be willing to take probably the 16 cents I have in my pocket and bet that the Bruins are in the bottom 5, for sure bottom 10, if not the bottom 5 in the NHL of zone entries on the power play.
Well, we've talked about it. When other teams, when other penalty kills know that a power play is not good, they're so much more aggressive, and that's where they're at as well. They're facing the most aggressive penalty kills in the league every night because that's where teams are adjusting to force that, and the only way to break it is to start dumping it and chipping it to space and getting it in the zone and recovering it. That will essentially back off that penalty kill at some point. It's not going to happen in 1 game or 3 games or 5 games at this point. It's going to take a whole quarter of a season or 10-15% of the season here, 10 or 15 games to start backing teams off again. You need to get hot, and you're right, that's part of the simplification, and what makes it hard for the power play is the teams are forcing so much, so you have to adjust differently.
Yeah, and it was Lillibert who was the other defenseman. It wasn't Chernak, forgive me. It was but again, it was, they just set it up so well. And I don't want to say it's no big deal, but it's a basic, you let the guy come at you. The first guy forces into an area. The second guy, in this case, you had a middle that was already sealed, and then McDonough is able to read it, and he just makes what looked like a simple play stopping David. He strips him easily right there. I got to know if it's being coached that way or if it's the players that are doing that. When I say I got to know, we got to, that's a question for Joe Sacco to sit down and say, what's the direction right here? Because if it can't, if it's being left up to the individual player regularly, I think this is where you got to say, we're not doing that right now. We're not. Our success rate is too low. We're making passes within 4 to 6 feet of the blue line that aren't working, in particular in the ozone. When we get it, we have got to get it in deep all of the time. 2 shorties now in the last 3 games.
Well, and that's the kicker, and because again, we've gone off another cliff here with the power play. It was struggling, and it wasn't scoring, and then it wasn't not just scoring, it wasn't getting momentum, and now we're at the point where it's not momentum, not scoring, and it's giving up shorthanded goals. You're only plus 10 on power plays for the season. You've got 16 power play goals, and you've got 6 shorthanded goals against. So plus 10 through over half of the season, the NHL is just not going to cut it. For reference, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 28-6. They've given up the most shorthanded goals with you, along with Tampa or Florida, but they have 12 more power play goals. So they're plus 22, you're plus 10. It's a huge difference. It's those 12 goals are the difference between where the Bruins are and where Tampa are in the standings right now.
So that's Cirelli's 16th goal of the season at 14:07. Then in the second period, 5 minutes later, Michael Eyssimont gets his 4th from Nick Paul, and again, Ryan McDonough. This ends up being a play in the last minute of the period. Bruins get the puck in, but they don't get a good forecheck going. And then it's a stretch play from the left D, McDonough, not all the way up to the far blue line. Paul had been, I'm going to say, around the red line. He comes back actually towards the breakout pass on the left side and does almost like a button hook, a curl, a curl type play. And what that does, folks, if you didn't get a chance to see it, is it brings up the strong side D, who is Andrew Peak. That's his spot that he's got to release to. He's got to step up on in the Bruins system. Paul gets him to come up there, and then when he button hooks, he banks the puck to the Eyssimont, who ends up getting it around the offensive blue line or so.
Yeah,
and then he starts taking it from the wall in, but Lowry reads it as a 2-on-1. It was really still a 2-on-2 as he had back pressure coming on to his left and support coming back. And so he doesn't slide over to eliminate the shooting lane. And in the meantime, Eyssimont says, I'm going to take it to inside the dot as much as I can. He ends up taking it inside the dot on the left side, and he beats Swayman. Blocker side, make it 2-0.
Yeah, it's a killer. So the shorthanded goal stunk. The power play, that's just been really frustrating. But this one, if you get out of that 1-0, you can justify it, and you can talk about where you are in the game, and you only need one, and you're going to get one. We're going to get one, guys, and of course they did, and we'll get to that. But this one was the killer for me, and you're right. It was well sniffed out. Joe Sacco is interesting. He was more frustrated, or as frustrated about the whole play as anything with the forecheck and not getting in.
Sure.
And not having enough pressure to slow them up late in the second period, and letting them get up the ice as quickly as they did. The Bruins would like to take advantage late in the second with the change, but it's Lowry backs in way too much. It's not enough read from him there. He's got to be more aggressive. He can't allow that puck to get down below the top of the circles without a little pressure. And then to that point, Swayman gets deep as well and somehow finds him short side. Goalies don't want to give up short side goals. You want to get and take maybe a little bit more He might have been worried about that pass option as well, where he stayed a little deeper. He could have challenged more, knowing that the back pressure had it, and Lowry was essentially covering it as well because of how deep he was. So again, love a save there, but it was 2-0, and that's just. Tampa's too good. We just talked. They're a good team, and that you can't expect to score 3 goals in the third and overtime against these teams all the time.
They got 5 guys are legit scorers too.
Yeah,
and
they lock it down. They know how to win. They understand exactly how to close games out. They did so.
So it's 2-0 at the end of 2 shots for 7 for the Bruins and 13 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We head into the third period. The good news is that the Bruins came out, instead of being disheveled and demoralized, they came out and had their, They busted their asses. They get a goal 2:05 in the third. It's Mason Lowry who gets it on the left point, left side. A lot of space. He's out there. They're out there against the fourth line. He ends up skating it in and kind of slaloming into where he's probably in that inside arc of the left circle. And then he rips it by Vasilevsky, Andrew Peak, Brad Marchand with the assists again. That's at 2:05. And then the Bruins chances. And is it worth going through the chances or no?
It was so much like the Washington game and the Ranger game for that. It was those are the 2 games. That's what it was tonight again. It was almost carbon copy. More of the Washington game where it was, you could say both teams were fairly even, but at the end, Bruins pushed and just couldn't find a goal with the chances that they had.
Brandon Hagel's going to make it 3-1 with an empty net goal at the 18:28 mark. Bruins pulled their goalie with about 2:20 or so. I'm okay with the earlier.
That one was fine. You're only down 1 goal. I was completely fine with that. I didn't love the neutral zone of the guys out there.
Well, that was
net. It seemed way too easy of an empty net goal.
They went from side to side.
It was
McAvoy doesn't press. Into an area. They don't, when you're the extra man, and Brick, I know spoke about this well on the broadcast, you're the extra guy out there. That means you're man on man. Then you make sure the opponent doesn't have that extra second to make a play. They don't do that. Hagel gets his 19th of the season. And then there's a power play because a whole bunch of
Lowry holds on it. They pull the goalie again. That was where I was like, I don't think you're scoring 2 more, but they go for it.
Lowry gets called for a hold, and then Tampa Bay Lightning put out their power play, and the big boys connect. Point, Kucherov, Hedman. Point gets the 25th goal of the season. Kucherov, beautiful pass over to him. Victor Hedman is one who started it. I didn't have a problem with Tampa putting out.
No way.
Not in a 3-1 game.
No way. If it was 4-1, 5-1, maybe, but it's 3-1. That's. You this is the NHL.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what you do.
So that ends up being all the goal scoring. Their shots in the third, 12 for Boston and 7 for Tampa. Tampa ends up out shooting the Bruins 31-28. After the last goal, and before we get to that, let's talk about we'll talk about the Kastelic play and Liljeberg play and everything. Let's get to our sponsors. Just a couple of other things super quick, just to look at some numbers for the Bruins. Again, Lowry, your only goal scorer in this game. Brazo, Pasternak, Lowry, and Zaka all -2. 5 shots on goal for David Pasternak in this one. 4 for Elias Lindholm. Lindholm went 17 wins, 10 losses in the faceoff circle. He had a nice night there. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, McDonough, who doesn't score a lot, had 2 assists. Hagel, a goal and an assist. Kucherov, 2 assists. I'm not saying quietly, but kind of quietly. But that's his game. That's what he does.
It's late.
All right, let's wake Razor up and let's quickly talk about our sponsors here. We want to thank them as always. Graciano Construction, such a great company. If you're looking to remodel, revitalize, whatever you want to do around your house, they do it all. Serving Greater Boston, Metro West area. Reach out to Graciano Construction at 508-330-7589 or gracianoconstruction.com. Doug Graciano, his brother Andre, the rest of the guys are so professional. The way that they handle things, they come into your house. If they're going to come, the first thing he does is take off his shoes. I mean, it's just smart. It's great.
A lot to be said for that.
There is. He gets it. And when they're done with the project, they always leave you with a smile because they'll do something that maybe you didn't think about, or they say to you, hey, what do you think if we do this? And you do it, and you know what? They just do it right. So reach out to Doug Graciano. Again, 508-330-7589 or GracianoConstruction.com. Speaking of doing it right, RTN Realty does it right. We're into the new year, and we're getting real close to that spring. I know it feels so far away, how cold it is and everything, but that spring kind of real estate movement's going to be happening. If you're looking to buy, sell, or lease a new place in Mass, Rhode Island, or New Hampshire, you got to check out RTN Realty for all your real estate needs. Chris Gentile and his staff, they also do things right. They handle all type of real estate transactions. Call Chris directly, 617-835-0845, or email Chris at cgentile@rtnrealty.com. The real estate market is ever changing. You need someone that you can trust. RTN Realty is that company. Go check them out. Apex most entertaining moment of the game, presented by Apex in Marlboro. ApexEntertainment.com. 100,000 square feet of pure fun. Do we have an entertaining moment in this game? Is it the low rye goal? Is it the forecheck of the Bruins finally in the third? Is there something else?
What about the Swayman save? Swayman a couple saves. I haven't done a save in a while. Maybe because they haven't won in a while. Like we're kind of scrambling. Obviously, the moms. Maybe maybe we give it to the moms tonight for the introductions tonight. The
introductions were good. You can't go wrong giving it to the moms.
Yeah, let's go with the moms. That's probably more apropos and get them in the mix. So I'll give it to Mrs. Marchand and Mrs. McAvoy for their initial opening. Get the boys going lineup announcement.
ApexEntertainment.com. Check that out. All right, let's go now and talk about the Kastelic play that happens late in the game. Emil Lilleberg, defenseman for the Tampa Bay Lightning, cross-checks him in the face. I don't know if it was the chin. It didn't look like above the mouth to me. It looked like more like the chin. It's in the neutral zone area. Kastelic's going in to finish the hit. It's very late in the period. Kastelic had hit. It may have been even hit him earlier. He hit somebody in the corner on the forecheck when they were out there at the end. But then when he goes for the hit, Kastelic gets cross-checked right in the face. And then Kastelic gets gloves off immediately, and the two guys scrap. I don't know how much contact there was made in the fight. There may have been one punch that landed near the end as Kastelic got turned and pushed, kind of thrown down. But I do think the head may have hit the ice a bit. But they called fighting majors, obviously. But they also called a 5-minute major for the cross-check and the injury, game misconduct, to Lilleberg. I'll be shocked if he doesn't get at least a game by the NHL. It was just too much there. But I did not like the way that Mark Kastelic got up from that. He was talking right away. He got me right in the head. He was giving him the F-bombs. But he also was wobbly. Yeah. He was very noticeably wobbly.
No, absolutely. That he needed help off the ice. And I think it was when he got tackled or taken down or whenever the fight ended, however you want to say it. And it looked like his head hit the ice. And that's all it takes. It doesn't, you don't need to hit it too hard. If your head hits the ice in any way whatsoever, it's jolting. So with an afternoon game on top of it on Saturday, we won't know until game time. I'm sure that'll be, he is, we'll see where he's at tomorrow because of concussion protocols and everything else. He's going to have it by the looks of it. Yeah. He will get spotted and he will have to go through something tonight and probably again tomorrow and probably even Saturday morning for that matter. So will be interested. Will be something to watch for. Was unfortunate for Mark to be not only cross-checked in the face, but then get himself a little dinged up.
Mark's a big guy, 6'4", 220 or so. Emil Lilleberg is pretty damn big too. He's 6'3", 210. Strong kid.
Yeah, not a fighter at all. That hasn't fought at like 4 penalty minutes this year. I looked it up, but strong. You could see him.
Yeah,
could hang.
That was kind of a old school play almost.
That is an old school.
That's an old school play.
The guy coming to hit you, get your stick up, and then you fight.
Right at that time of game, but didn't like it, and absolutely got the referees got that right. I didn't love some of the other stuff called in the game, but wasn't again the reason that the Bruins lost or anything. I just think that they got this one right, and they went to review. They made it a major. So I would look for something to come down from the league. I'd be disappointed, quite frankly, if they don't give them a game.
Yeah, it's a game. I mean, without
there's
question,
precedent.
to find the whole thing, but they don't want cross checks in the face. They just don't, and it's easy to give them one game that just to set precedent and keep precedent, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So I know they're on the mom's trip, but
so what do we do now?
Where
do we go now?
Right? Where do we go now?
Holy smokes! Where do we go now?
Well, I'm not going to assume that Kastelic isn't going to play, but like you said, it doesn't look. Let's assume he can't.
Yeah.
So then McLaughlin comes in. It's that simple. I mean, are you just not vibing a call up even for Saturday for an afternoon game? No,
I don't.
Still not.
Not until this whole weekend's over. I don't see that. Again, it almost, if there is a couple injuries that everyone typically plays. I know they're in a losing streak, but
This isn't about aren't we past the feel good stuff of the mom stuff, or is that not where you're going? You're just going with what they got, or no?
No. I'm saying, you probably check McLaughlin in, you probably check Osterley in, and you try and get something out of it. Typically, you play both goalies. I can't imagine them going to Korpisalo. Maybe they do, but I'd be surprised if they do. But typically, you do that as well. You try and get everybody in on these trips. Now, usually, you're not in the middle of a 6-game banger.
That's the problem.
So that's what they're up against right now. But again, I think that this isn't about what's not there. It's about who is there, and they just need someone to start. They need a hat trick from somebody. They need a 50 save from their goalie. They need their D to score more goals. Like it's all in the room, and they have to figure that out.
Okay. I've asked you. I'm trying to ask you this something different, but I feel like I'm asking the same thing over and over on these shows now.
Yeah,
they don't have a lot of what I would call natural goal scorers.
No,
you see it really explicitly when we play a team against like Tampa that has at least, between Kucherov and Point, and then you can throw in the other 2-3 guys that aren't, I would call as exclusively, high end goal scorers, but they're producing. The pressure is there on all these guys. You got guys missing the net. You got, Legiki play was great, but he hit the crossbar. That's not his fault per se, But my point is, if we want somebody to get a hat trick, but it doesn't feel like it's there, if only because it doesn't look easy when they score goals.
No,
it doesn't. It's a whole different look compared to the better teams.
Yeah, you're right. But then 3 games they scored 4 and 4 back-to-back days on the weekend. So they scored 8 goals on the weekend just 4 days ago. So it is somewhere there. And the other thing too is, again, there's a lot of call all the young guys, call them all up. Well, they're in the minors for it's not Kucherov and Point in the minors that you're just like sitting on, right? Like I get the swell, but again, it's these guys they'd won 5 in a row prior to this slide. Like it's the same group, so again, it's on these guys to get out of it. It really is, and teams go through these, and again, the Bruins haven't done 6 for 15 years. But 4 or 5 games that you don't make whole, like you've got to figure it out as players. The best players have to figure it out. That's, again, because we're talking about the power play, right? We're not talking the power play scored 9 goals, the penalty kill's not giving anything up, but the bottom 4, the fourth line gets scored on every game, right? Like that's the thing with where they are right now is it's. If the power play just scored a couple goals, just that alone will change things. And that's up to the guys who make the most and get paid the most, and that have the most pressure on them.
They've got it. No shit, Sherlock, right? They got to change something up on the power play.
Yeah, they do.
They got to change whatever they're coaching and whatever they're thinking out there, bud. They have to. And we're not going to go into the whole thing here. It's just obvious, but it's painfully obvious that. Yeah. I promise I almost don't know what their other choices are.
No, I know. Again, I mean, I've been saying it now for a few days. It's this Hampus Lindholm thing keeps hanging over a lot of these different scenarios. They don't have a lot of depth all of a sudden with him out. Like it just changes the dynamic and where everybody places. And it would be, again, he is the guy that you move in there that changes things and makes it look different and makes it move different. And so we're still a few weeks away from that, I assume. And then, so in the meantime, do you put Zadorov out there? Do you have a Hammer time out there? Like
my fear,
do you put D-man? I don't know.
My thing about, I know what you're saying about Hampus, and yes, you need him back. He's legit NHL defenseman. I get all that, but he's, it still doesn't change some of the lack of movement of the forwards' ability to move the puck. You know how I know you saw, so it's rhetorical. How well Tampa moves.
Yeah, but the Tampa's as good as it gets, right? Like you can't compare to Edmonton, like, right? Like I don't think that's fair. Like Tampa has 3 Hall of Famers, if not 4 on their power
okay,
play,
fine.
Right?
I don't have it in front of me and it's late and I'm getting about to yawn to and everything. So we'll wrap it up. But I'm gonna look for our next show, okay?
Yeah.
To go to a middle of the pack power play.
I know. That's all they need.
I'm going to go look for a middle of the pack power play and let's do a comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know we never give each other a heads up what we're going to talk about when we come in, but I will give you a heads up so you can prepare. You can say, okay, well, this is why this or that, anything. We'll do that. But all right, listen. Anything else? I always ask you at the end. Did I miss any? What have I screwed up? I'm sure I've screwed up something.
That was pretty good for a late night 6 in a row loss.
All right. All right, so folks, we're going to wrap this one up. And we're not sure. The Bruins are on national TV on Saturday. It's an afternoon game. I believe it's 1:00 game.
1:00.
Okay. I'm not going to promise that we're going to do a show. Both Razor and I have some family stuff going. But if we can pull one off later in the day, in the evening, we will. And if we can't, forgive us because just that's the way it is right now. But I can tell you for sure, next week we will have 2 shows for you. We will have one after the Tampa game on Tuesday, and then we're scheduled. I say scheduled because you never know. Scheduled to have a special guest join us at one point during the week too, and we'll try to get that one out for you. But if there's a way we can get a show on Saturday after that Florida game, we will. If not, watch the Bruins win like 6-1. If they win 6-1, we're doing a show.
Yeah, we
somehow,
we
some way.
The vibes for sure.
We'll do that.
Happens absolutely.
All right, thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to RC for
yes, sir.
helping put everything together. And again, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, this is a different look. We're trying some stuff out.
Hopefully it worked.
Hopefully it worked, and so this show is all successful. Bruins lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1. It is now 6 in a row. I don't know what you do. I'd say actually don't have yourself an extra cup of coffee. Have yourself an extra shot of something. See you later.